Hi, hello. This is having to sit down with R.L. Brown, and I am R.L. Brown, and I'm pleased to come to you today. Um, my topic has, well, what brings me to the screen is I was in the gym today, and as I was working out, recently there's been shootings with Asian Americans and stuff like that, and I notice, I've been not paying close attention to these people, but there's people of all different backgrounds at the gym that I go to, and I go to different ones, different areas and stuff. Um, Health is very important, right? But anyway, while there today, I noticed, I had a curiosity just to, you know, because I seen something that was familiar to me. And what it was that I seen was some Asian Americans that came in and they were working out, and stuff like that. But I seen something of that reminded me of me as well as other people that I know. It was kind of like a tiptoeing around the gym more than I've ever seen before. Usually people come in, they just go right to their thing, they do their thing, they ain't minding nobody else's business, and they doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And but today there was one, and then there was this one particular young Asian guy who I don't know. I just picked up. I felt like I picked up in his spirit something going on with him, And so after my workout, I went and I talked to him, briefly. I introduced myself, you know, um, and and I asked him. I got on the topic of working out because he was doing a particular exercise, and I like helping people, reach their goals and stuff like that there. And we began to talk, and I just told them, I felt it was, a good time to interject in the fact that I noticed, I seen what's been going on in the news about Asian Americans, and I told them, how I felt about that, like that's, it's sad and it's really, it's terrible, and at first he looked at me, but he looked around like, is this like, we, where is this coming from or whatever. But once he seen the sincerity, I guess, he began to say, yeah, yeah, it is. It's really messed up, And he began to share about, there's, a different vibe going on in their community, in the Asian community, that they're being targeted, throughout the country, and I think, like, I didn't get into no super deep stuff, about, how Asian Americans have stood by silently, not all, and again, I want to say right off the bat, I don't ever want to come off with saying everybody and all the time and using blanket statements and stuff like that there. But a lot of the Asian community has stood by silently, pretty much while Black Lives Matter movement, was being generated and and so I didn't go there with him. It's a time for those kind of discussions. But what I did want to help him understand, what I did say to him was that you know we've been going through this here for 400 years, and so I understand how it feels, and every black person, most black person, people of color understand what you've been going through, you know. and it's real, and he said, we talked for about a good half an hour, and he said a lot of different things that helped me to see that they're hurt, and it's just like, hey, we know. We've been going through this stuff, African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, you know what I mean? We've been living this. This is our reality, and so, what I want to say to everyone, including, um, the so-called whites, the pale pink people, that's not being racist. That's just that, white is really not a shade of anyone, not humans anyway. Um, but those that have stood by us, so-called whites, people that say that they're white, that have stood by African Americans, that do not subscribe to white supremacy. I do appreciate the things that they have done for the cause, for the struggle of equality, and one of the things that I want, what I told the young man was that, because it's being done by different people, but right now white supremacy is, they're targeting everybody, and I told him, I said, well, one of the things that I teach my children is not to, no, don't hate white people, but understand that a lot of them, are afraid of the comfortable place that they have held since they've arrived on these shores here, and they're desperate, and a lot of them are willing to, they don't know how to be positive, because living a lie, you must continue to live the lie, and therefore you must also have to not only convince yourself of the lie, but you got to convince everyone that's around you, that you have to interact with, especially the ones that the crime is being committed against, that you're not really committing a crime against them. That it's just the way it's supposed to be, and doing so, it takes a whole lot of energy to keep that type of a lie up. So with that type of energy being exhausted constantly, every minute, every second of the day, even with their children, bringing their children up, as soon as their children are able to understand any kind of meaning of relationship between people, they begin to press this uh, superiority uh, mindset onto them, and have them growing up not ever understanding that it's a lie. You know what I mean? And so what I told him in short was this here: white supremacy must die. And it's going to take every people of color, the unity between the people of color, including those that call themselves white, all right? Those that stand with equality, fairness, and humanity. Um, it's going to take us all to destroy it, and we can't play with it. And it's like, in no way is this saying to hate white people, but we could definitely hate white supremacy. It's no way to go around attacking white people, but we can definitely fight back against those that are fighting us in the name of white supremacy. And that means to any level. We may have to go to battle, and it is a life and death matter. Now, something else I was looking at when I came home was, all of these killings since the the killings down in Atlanta, which was what was that? March 16th, right? Since March 16th, which on March 16th, 16 people were, I mean, I'm sorry, not 8 people were killed, right? I think 6 of them were Asian Americans. They wanted to say because the other 2 people that were in the parlor, it wasn't a racial thing, which is we know, right? But anyway, and then after that, there were other killings, right? And it's like what I was looking at on the news. They were talking about the gun laws, and the gun laws are something that are really important, to if no one else, to white people. And when you talk about taking away their guns, you're talking about truly taking the foundation, literally taking the bricks from under the foundation of the mansion that they have been living in since they've been here. You understand? And in Europe, you know what I mean? It's like without the gun, there's a great chance that so-called white people would not even be here as they are right now. They would not be running things without the gun. So believe this, when we're talking about gun control, most people can see the common sense in gun control. When you're looking at March 16th, 8 people killed, right? March 17th, 5 people shot in California, right? I don't know if it's 5 killed. I forgot to write it down. But on the 18th of March, right, 8 people shot in New Orleans. On the 20th of March, 2 people killed, 17 wounded, right? This was in Philly, Dallas, and Houston. On the 22nd of March, 13 people killed, 5 wounded throughout Detroit, Cleveland, and Boulder, Colorado. On the 23rd, 2 killed and 6 wounded in Alabama. On the 23rd of March, 2 killed, 6 wounded, right? On the 26th of March, 6 killed, 25 wounded throughout Philly, Virginia Beach, Chicago, and Memphis, right? And then on the 27th, I believe it was Chicago and a couple of other places, 1 killed and 13 wounded, right? Anyone with common sense knows we have to tighten up on gun control, But most people who cry out, you're taking our rights from us, they go to the extreme of they want to take our guns. Mainly what I've been hearing them talking about, and this has been for years, is taking away assault rifles. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hey, I like some things too. I like MR15s, AR-15s, I'm sorry. I like that kind of stuff there. I wish that we could keep that kind of stuff around the house, and, just for protection, because it gets crazy. I live in the city. It can get real crazy, right? But there are so many other guns that you can keep that is not as extreme, And I'm gonna tell you this here. Why do white people get so crazy about this? Is because the gun has been their primary power of taking control and maintaining control, not just in America, not just in the United States, but across this planet. This is why when we find out that the budget for the country of everything throughout all the states that goes on the needs, infrastructure, healthcare, education, so many different things that every one of the states in this union need, and the country itself needs to be a global, to maintain being a global leader and giant on this planet, is pretty much the budget is that budget to take care of the country is very small compared to what they give to the military. And the military should be well equipped, let me first say. However, the mindset of this country has always been on when there is, like having that gun ready, you know, and that goes for on the macro level, as far as the nation always wanting to go against or create wars with other places. Don't get me wrong, I love the United States. I just don't like the leadership sometimes. Most times, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say this, that mindset of white supremacy comes all the way down to the rights of someone having an AR-15 in their, in their closet somewhere. And I'll tell you like this right here. Um, I remember when the COVID first came off, right? And there was the scrambling and the craziness, everybody fighting over toilet paper and all that nonsense or whatever. Then the next thing was immediately after they thought about getting their food in their cupboard, they was after them guns. And let me tell you something. When it came to the guns, at least around New York and Philly, some of the states around New York, the white gun owners did not want to sell guns to blacks or Latinos. They would sell us like shotguns, but they did not want to give up on none of those semi-automatics. Again, because they know in order for them to maintain white supremacy, the illusion, because it's only an illusion, it's a diseased, mindset. But anyway, they know that for anyone else to have equal firepower with them is a chance that they may lose this, and they are scary people like this, those that subscribe to white supremacy. They don't want the tables to be equal ever, not in education, not in when it comes to handguns, when it comes to money, when it comes to property, when it comes to health care, when it comes to education, because they want to maintain this illusion, And this is a time of truth, people. This is a time of truth. This is a time where people like you right now watching this here, as well as myself, this is a time where we are going to have to make the decision. Are we going to be passive, or are we going to have to be assertive about our future? Because they're accelerating theirs. When we seen what happened on January 6th at the Capitol, where they call, usually white people are calling everybody else every kind of animal and all kind of derogatory names and descriptions and stuff like that. They look like a bunch of zoo animals that lost their damn mind, climbing up the walls, in the doggone Capitol House, boo-booing on the floor and then wiping it on the walls. These are animals. But the sad thing about it is they're supported by the people at the top. That's another thing that I talk to young people about, is that we need people in all branches of the government. We need to saturate all of the police departments. We need to saturate every part of law enforcement, sheriff's department, state troopers, SWAT. We need to have, there is no such thing as diversity if there is 50% white people and 10% black, 10% Latino, 10% Asian American. That is not diversity. See, diversity to white supremacy is you can have a neighborhood of 100 people, but if you got 2 families of blacks on that there, That may be considered diversity, with maybe two families of Latinos, maybe one or two families of the Asians. Well, they didn't mind Asians so much. It's some kind of little love thing there. You understand? But I think now Asian people are beginning to understand, though, that when it comes to white supremacy is like a wild dog that is out of control. And now you have come into view, and they are on the attack, and they have been, with us forever. But the only way that we can destroy white supremacy is through unity. We cannot allow, whether it's the news, don't go for it. Whether it's you hear your leaders, your politicians and stuff like that talking about where the problem is. The problem in this country is white supremacy. The reason why we have so much stress, so much pressure, so much unhappiness, so much tension, so much hatred, so much, negativity everywhere we look is because of white supremacy. Now, people will make, I know it's a lot of people. You can't blame everything on white supremacy. White supremacy, excuse me. I say that's a damn lie. You can blame a whole lot on white supremacy, because where the root of all of the uneasiness in this planet, in this country, come from, has started from the very beginning, when Europeans came to these shores here. Africans was already here. That's something a lot of people don't know. Do your history, people. Do your history. Africans had been here thousands of years. What's the brother name? There's so many books about it, but Ivan Van Sertima wrote a book called They Came Before Columbus. And let me tell you something. We were here not only exchanging wisdom, knowledge, and technology back then, thousands of years. See, in a lot of these books, they want to talk about 5,000, 6,000, 10,000. Africans and people of color have been roaming this planet for over 200,000 years. The Sumerians have history back to 400,000 years, where they were doing Khmer writings and stuff of the books of Genesis on the planet. You understand? So, not to even mention the emerald tablets and so much literature, so many scriptures that come from way, 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 way back. See, Europeans' history pretty much begins about a good, I'm talking about when they came out the caves. I would say about 7 to 10,000 years, but for a long time they did not hit the stage of civilization. As a matter of fact, had it not been for the Egyptians teaching people like Hermes and Socrates, Aristotle and all these other people from Greeks, what they said, the father of civilization, they came to the Egyptians in a humble manner, begging for knowledge. You understand? The libraries of Alexandria were the libraries of Kemet before Alexander the Great was even being produced in sperm. You understand? Before his great 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 grandfather was even thought about being, donated as, whatever to the world. They were not around. They didn't come out until about a good 7 to 10,000 years onto the main stage. And when they came out, they were humble. They wanted knowledge. They wanted to be taught. You know what I'm saying? But that's another discussion we'll discuss later on down the line. Y'all just stay tuned, okay? But anyway, back to this here, what's going on today in society in this country here is the unification of the people of color. And it is so important because we've been looking for the answers. Why this? Why that? Why can't my babies go to school and just have a decent education? Why can't we? Why can't we just, you know, move around in society without a crazy Karen somewhere, you know, thinking that she's still on a plantation somewhere talking to slaves or whatever. You understand? Why can't we, you know, why do we have to watch what we eat as far as in our foods and stuff now? You know, especially in the communities of poor. You know, it's not just about black and white. It's about communities of poor. And there's poor white people too, so-called white people. It's poor white people too. You understand? However, a lot of them do see what we're going through. And I gotta say this here. I do commend the young whites, the young um, pink people, white, you know, whatever y'all want to call yourself. It ain't white, but anyway, I'm gonna get off of it and let it go. Somebody gonna see this here, they'll catch on, you know. But anyway, um, the young white children that are looking for truth and they're speaking up about truth because they know that they study. Some of them take the initiative to try to look into black history or at least listen to black history, and they can understand. They know their people. They know what their people are capable of doing, and so they they're having more black children. You know, they're interacting with us now. You know, as you also see now with white supremacy, because the thinning of the white race is inevitable. You know what I'm saying? Now you see a campaign in the propaganda on TV, every other commercial with, you know, you got a black woman and the white dude. You know, it's in situations where you just all you can do is just shake your head. You know damn well that's some bullshit. But anyway, we'll go for it. You know, we watch the shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not to say that, you know, there's a problem with black women being with white men because all it does is build up the black race, you know. However, I think in their minds, though, that if they can get enough of them to talk to their half white children or whatever, and they can teach their half white children to be more on the side in the mindset of other whites, then they can maybe change the mindset of young mixed children coming up, you know, to think more like the Caucasian race or whatever, you know. Whereas, you know, I mean, I think one of the biggest fears of white supremacy is that they believe that if ever given the chance that black people are going to do to them what they did to us. First of all, I don't, you know, I've never seen what black people have ever done to white people and have plenty of reason to, but have never done close to what they have done to us. You know, it would be as it's like it would be as dramatic as comparing say an ocean of atrocities that the white man has done to people of color, whether it be Native Americans, Asian Americans with the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you know, as well as what they have done to Latinos. And look what Trump did, threw some damn paper towel at them at one of the greatest tragedies that ever happened in modern day. You know, with the storms they went through. You know, but I'm saying like it would be a comparison when comparing what black people have done to white people and compared to what white people have done to black. It would be like an ocean of atrocities. You know, an ocean-sized atrocity compared to a doggone bath of water, a bathtub full of water. Because I mean, we have done some things, but if you went down the list, that the list of what black people have done to white people out of anger, out of frustration, out of just being sick and tired, you understand, for the stuff that they've gone through from the time we came over on those ships When before the ships, we was already here, like I said. But when we came over on them ships, the whole script was changed, right? So from the time that we put foot down after getting off them ships, the things that they did to us, you understand, cannot in no way be equal to what we've done to them. No, no way. But anyway, but they'll make it sound like it's just like it makes you think about how they was pissed off when Barack, not all white people. Again, I have to remind y'all, I'm not talking about all white people. I'm talking about white supremacy. That's where my problem is, white supremacy. If I seen it, I would kill it straight up. If I could see white supremacy, you understand, somewhere where is that I'm not killing except in self-defense. If I was to be able to see it, I would definitely want to kill it. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you like this right here. I'm not a murder type of person. I'm just saying in general, I have no love for white supremacy. But when Barack Obama became president, they were so angry. Here it is, one time we got a person outside of being European, all right? The first time after 1776, let me see, 1976, that was 200 years. So we talking about damn near 250 years later, we get one dude in as president, and they damn near lost their damn mind. These people went so doggone crazy. They went out and they couldn't just let the man just have. They wanted to call him a monkey. They wanted to say he was out of Africa. You understand? And he was born in Africa. And then when this is when the time when their great white hope stepped in. Donald Dump J. Trump, right? When he came onto the set, if you really look at things, he was the great white hope. He was the one. He was rich. He gave the illusion of being powerful, and he did have some kind of power. You understand? I mean, he did become president. Let's face it. You know, and part of that there was because a lot of y'all didn't vote. But you know, just the same, he became their great white hope. And when he came in, he started spitting so much division about white supremacy on the low. See, you know, white supremacy has not only become complex, but it's become in some ways a little sophisticated. You know, for virgin ears, for those that don't really pay attention. You know, he began to do a lot of dog whistling, you know, to the white supremacist dogs, you know, and it started rolling. It just started rolling. You know what I mean? You know, so if we allow this to continue, white supremacy will kill all of us, including the white supremacists, because there's no way in hell God will allow something like that to remain here when the rest of us is gone. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is something that the so-called good white people need to understand also, that if you don't get up off of your ass and get out here and do more than talk about how terrible these people are and be, you know, marching with us or whatever. I told you once before and I'll tell you again, the only white man that I can say really stand up and stood up for black people was John Brown. Now, if you got a spirit like that there, then I'm a fan of yours. But if you ain't willing to sacrifice, I hear you and I'm going to watch you. I'm not a believer until I see it, you know. But together, we can kill white supremacy. We can destroy it. You know, they come on like some big bad monster, like some big bad dude, you know, and really there's a bunch of scary, soft cowards, you know. They always come in bunches. You can never get one of them unless he is like young and muscle bound. Now he'll go up against some guy that's tiny and little, and he's all, this rah rah rah. But you will not get him to go up against another man that knows how to, as we say, kick up dust. They will never do that. They're cowards. They're cowards. And they're stupid, because they should understand that at this time, in this new millennium, at this point in mankind's history, this is a time of love. This is a time to share knowledge and wisdom. Whereas that we should not even be stuck here on this planet. They still talking about going to Mars or to the damn moon. If they put half of the money that they put into military budgets, if they would have done this back in this, I say like just as far back as the 60s, we would be probably into other galaxies somewhere, truly being the aliens visiting other planets instead of us waiting for I don't know, more acknowledgement that they're already here. Or that they're coming here. And anybody that doesn't think that aliens are not a fact of life here on this planet, I don't know what to say. I don't know. But, they say, some people don't want to see that there because it's too much for them. I think most of the world is ready for it, though. But anyway, that's another topic we'll talk about later on. You just keep tuning in. As they say, when you see this video, like, share, subscribe, and, just keep tuning in. I got a lot of topics I like to talk about. So anyway, back to the beginning of this conversation when I was talking about the young Asian guy, he felt real good. It was kind of like I got from him that it was meant for me to say something to this young man in the gym, because I could tell he had some pent up inside of him. And when I said to him what I said to him, that this is a time where all people of color have to come together and destroy white supremacy, it was just like a bell went off in his head. It was just like a light bulb. Like, oh, that's the answer. Yeah, that is the answer. And I told him right off the muscle, before I left him, I told him, this is not to say to hate white people. No, this is not about attacking white people. You understand? This is about attacking white supremacy. And if you stand with white supremacy, and if you come at me, I'm going to try and destroy your ass right into the ground. And that's how each and every one of us need to feel. We should not be afraid of no big bad monster, that's really a big lie, blowing smoke. You know what I'm saying? God did not put us all down here to be separated. We should have been more unified and inclusive long time ago. But you know what kept us apart? Yeah, you got it. White supremacy. That's how the puppet master has played our lives against each other. We've lived along in his script, in its script. I'm not even going to call white supremacy a him. It's a it. Okay? It is an inanimate object. It's a diseased thought. Okay? And we need to treat it that way, And we need to quit being apologetic. And those whites that don't understand us, leave them people alone. We quit trying to explain to them. They really know. And if they don't know, they will know. They'll catch on. Because believe me, when we can defeat white supremacy, the rest of them will understand that they got to change as well. Because we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. The only thing that can destroy us and that can take us, kill us, is us ourselves. I believe the great poet Tupac Shakur said that. We are our own enemies. We shy away from confrontation with the true enemy. The enemy For the black man is not the Mexican or the Latino or the Native American or the Asian American. And the black man is not the enemy to neither one of them. We are all family. We have something in common. And yeah, I would love to talk to any professor or whoever professional there is that might dispute the words I'm about to say. But however, we have something that is totally, well, really makes us family. And that is, we are the melanated people of this planet. We were here first. And these other people, these pale people, these pink people, pale pink, that call themselves white. And like I said, if you got a dispute with what I said, you can find the blackest of the black Africans and put a black sheet of paper right next to their face and believe it. There, you will not be able to tell the difference. Black is black. And it's been that way. That's why we were called the Moors. But I'm going to say this here. You could take a white piece of paper. We know white people look all kind of colors. Pink, red, orange. Trump done pull out another color. You understand? But I'm going to say this right here. You could put a white sheet of paper against any white person. I don't care if they never had no sun. I don't care if it's cold as 10 below outside. They will not be white. They will be a shade of pink, pale. That's it. And that's a reality that every one of you need to start looking into. You understand? As long as you're calling them white, you know what you're saying? That they are the best. Look in the dictionary. Malcolm X taught us this right here. It has all the positive connotations connected to the word white. Pure, clear, angelic. That is not these people. So quit lying to yourself and quit lying to your babies and to each other. They are not the white people. They are pale. There's a book called Beware of the Pale Horseman. That book ain't talking about white people. It's not talking about nobody that's white. It's talking about that person pale. Pale. So anyway, I guess my last words, I don't want to just say all this here and not have a solution. The solution is when you see a black person, when you see a Latino brother or sister, a Native American brother or sister, an Asian American brother or sister, you understand? Give them that look. We together. We stand together. We know who the enemy is now. And we are out to destroy that motherfucker. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. But we are out to destroy it. And we will not be apologetic. And for the whites that stand with us, if they come wanting, so-called white, want to be pure at heart, we will embrace them. But all those that feel they got a problem with us being against white supremacy, take it to them. Take it to them. We don't need to explain. They don't have 400 years to understand exactly what the hell they doing. They ain't crazy. They play crazy. But you know what? One thing I learned when I was young, growing up, every time there was some dude that played like he was crazy, the only way that you can really get up in his head is you had to show him you just as crazy. And I'm not talking about going out here doing no crazy stuff like, lynching, white boys and all that kind of stuff. Even though that was a fantasy of mine one time. I'll be honest with you. That was a fantasy of mine. However, we can, I should just say we're gonna address the situation as it comes to us. All right? We are not barbarians like they are. We are not savages like they are. We are gods, children of the Most High, as Yeshua says. In the book, Jesus says, Ye are all God's children of the Most High. I would have gave y'all the scripture and all that there, but do your own homework. It's in there. I'll give you a hint. Look under John and look under Psalms. All right. Anyway, I think that's enough for right now. Unity is the key, y'all. Unity. We are one, as Frankie Beverly says. We are one, and we need to act like it. And that does include the white people that stand with equality, with a pure heart, without the bull. You know what I mean? The real. We can all do this here, and we can all be happy. And it's way more than enough money for all of us to live a decent, good, comfortable life. Like I said before, I don't have to be rich to be comfortable, but I do need to be able to make a true living wage for me and my family. And that goes for every single individual in this country as well as on this planet. There's way more than enough resources. You know, we need to be afraid of nothing and no one when it comes to being being loving, caring, and looking out for each other. You know, we cannot allow the rich to turn us against each other anymore, and white supremacy. You know, because that whole thing about rich, that's a whole nother topic. We'll talk about that another time. But I'll just say briefly, you think white supremacy is a problem. The war of the classes now is the real, behind it all. That's because white supremacy was constructed due to the war of the classes. When it looked like the white man and the black man during the times of the early 1800s coming out of slavery, how close whites and blacks were in the southern states. They were like family. They loved on each other. I'm talking about not all whites. I'm talking about the whites that was slaves along with the black slaves. Yeah, they had communities down there that had white slaves too. They didn't treat them like black slaves, but they had white slaves. But they turned them white slaves against us when they told them that just the color of their skin made them better than us. And you know what? When a man is down and ain't got nothing, and then the thing about it, the black people who was the real workers back then knew how to not only do the work, but knew how to build a whole community, which they began to start doing with a whole jealousy of the Black Wall Street massacre happened. You know what I'm saying? That was pure jealousy because blacks were geniuses. Blacks were the everybody. They were the bankers. They were the electricians. They were the architects. They were the plumbers. They were the farmers. They were the storekeepers. You understand? They did everything. And the reason why they did it was because they were the ones who was actually doing it for free 100 years earlier. You understand? They had to do it for free back then. So what did the white man do? He became lazy and stupid because he didn't have to worry about it. He sat his behind on the porch drinking mint juleps, puffing on his pipe, and telling blacks what to do all day, every day. His children used to ride on our babies' backs like we were their toys, human toys. But that's a whole nother thing. We'll talk about that too some other time. All right. Anyway, again, this is another session of Sitting Down with R.L. Brown. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you tune back in and like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you, and have a blessed day.